Joining us as he does every single week to give us some rays of light, my man, our great teammate, Marcus Ray. Marcus, how you doing this morning?
What's up, man? Good morning.
Glad you could join us. I just want you to know that we've been called out by Devin Gardner. He called us some cheaters and said we had to cheat to win that game. And here's what I know. I know we play by the rules in the softball academy. And even if you let's take the fielding part out of it. Isn't it your recollection as well, Marcus, that we hit the ball a lot further than they did?
Yes, Sam, that is my recollection. And also, we were 5 for 5 with no outs. Okay? So, I mean, we smoked them like a pack of Black and Miles, flat out. You know, that's just the way it goes. We were better athletes, okay? We had better hand-eye coordination. We had better outfield and definitely had better infield play with Hugh and Ira. And I forgot who else was
John Baum and Shelley. John Baum from 107.1 was at short, and his friend Shelley was at second.
Yeah, man. They put it on Maize Blue. It made it seem like it was close, like it was a nail biter. Man, none of that was true.
Oh, it was a nail biter, all right. Every time we were at bat, we hit the ball so far, they were biting nails instead of catching balls and playing good softball. But, you know, that's why they should have went through the entire academy so they could have worked on their fundamentals. See, we took advantage of every opportunity, and then we worked them like a part-time job, flat out.
That's exactly right. See, I knew I could throw the pitch down the middle of the plate for you. You would hit it out of the park like you did that home run ball you hit during the softball academy. So next year, Marcus, can we count on you being back to help us retain the crown?
Oh, I'm coming back. I'm coming back for more. I really enjoyed the entire academy, you know, learning how to play softball, you know, playing with the Michigan Insider team and just meeting everyone else and raising money for a great cause. So I will definitely be back in the softball academy next year. And I'm looking forward for, you know, playing against the football team once again. And I told Jared Wilson, I pointed to him before I hit that home run, too. That's the part you're leaving out, Sam. I pointed to young Jared Wilson. I told him he wasn't deep enough, and then I took it deep. So I'm going to be ready to go. It was a pleasure watching you all run around those bases the same way I did. We were all out of breath, but, you know, that's why we made it home safely. But I love the softball academy.
All right, so Marcus, I'm about to take you out your comfort zone a little bit. Now, this is not totally sports, so I'm forewarning you. Though, because I posed the question to you maybe about a month ago. I don't know how we got on the topic, but I said, Marcus, you know, back in your day as a player, who was that guy on the team? Now, I know, you know, a lot of guys on the team had their fair share of lady friends. I think you were talking about you were talking about deliveries. You were getting your food deliveries late at night. I said, well, who was that guy? You said, well, I was that guy. I said, you know, yeah, Marcus, I know your track record, man. You definitely, even after the playing days, you had a great R&B singer in there. So I know you did some great things, Marcus, but I think, Marcus, you may have embellished a little bit when you called yourself the guy. Let me tell you why. Marcus, I think you may have embellished. I think you may have embellished because you left one guy out. One guy that has the crown officially. And I guess I'm late to the party. Did you know about Dave Bowens? Dave Bowens and Gloria Velez? Did you know about that?
Yeah, but see, that was like...
Well, come on, man. Now, you have to give him the crown. You have to give him the crown for that.
I'll give Dave Bowens a crown. I think he also had, he was dating Roxy from 106 and Park. I mean, Dave took it to a whole nother level. But you know what, though? That's only because it's not that Dave was nice looking. It's not because he's a nice guy. It's all because he played in the NFL a little longer than me. See, when you can still do it, when you're done playing, like when you're well beyond your years of playing, and then you can pull it off, then you are the man. But if you're still in the NFL, you always got to question, does she like me for me, or does she like me for my money and the fact that I can provide a certain lifestyle or give her some fame. But, you know, Bowens comes from my stable. That's why I got to put an asterisk by anything, you know, Charles and Dave Bowens and all the rest of those guys. They come from the Dub Nick, the 12 double nickel, 1255 Wisteria Drive. So it still runs through me, though, Sam. So I'm going to have to, You have to find somebody else. But Dave Bowens came from my stable, and I showed him before he even transferred what it was supposed to look like.
I hear you, Marcus, and I understand. I understand the criteria that she liked me for me or for my money. Now, generally speaking, I'm with you on that. But there are a few exceptions to that rule. And I think Gloria Velez might be one of them. If you don't know who she is, Google her. You'll see Dave Bowens. Dave Bowens did pretty well for himself. Now, Marcus, I know you were scared where I was going with that. So, see, it was a little scary. You were scared, but I took care of it. It's 8:13 on a Wednesday here on the Michigan Insider on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, online at WTK.com. So, Marcus, NFL draft is upon us, and there's a lot of talk about what you should go for at the top of this draft. Jadeveon Clowney tested off the charts, upside through the roof. But a lot of people saying Khalil Mack, the kid from Buffalo, doesn't have Jadeveon Clowney's measurables, but he's the safer guy. He's the surer guy. You know it's not boom or bust with him. He's going to go out there and be consistent. Which way do you go if you have the number one pick in this draft?
Well, if I'm first on the board and I'm drafted, I'm going for Jadeveon Clowney because he is a bona fide, pure pass rusher, and that's where the game is won and lost is up front. And I tell you, you better have a left tackle, you better have a right defensive end, because that's what football's boiled down to. That is the marquee matchup in football. And I think Clowney can do more. I think that he can even stand up and be a rush outside linebacker and drop into the flats. I believe he can cover a running back out of the backfield. He can also sack the quarterback. I think Clowney brings more to the table. He can even jump up and knock balls down. So we've seen him take helmets off, all types of things. I like Khalil Mack. I think he was misused a little bit at Buffalo. I watched his tape. I mean, he dominated Ohio State single-handedly and probably should have won that game. But, he didn't do enough for me as a complete defensive football player to warrant the right to get picked over to Jadeveon Clowney.
Gotcha. We're talking to Marcus Ray this morning here on the Michigan Insider on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, online at WTK.com. So let's go down to number 10, where the Lions are. Neither of those guys will be on the board by the time they pick. Much of the discussion is about the cornerback spot. So you got Darqueze Dennard, who I know you've seen a ton. You got Justin Gilbert from Oklahoma State. Now, you look at film, Justin Gilbert is the faster guy. Justin Gilbert excels in off coverage, making plays on the ball, whereas it seems Darqueze Dennard is the guy that might be a little bit more comfortable in press man, getting physical with receivers. Not as fast, not as tall, but more physical. What is going to translate better to the NFL, Marcus? What Darqueze Dennard does or what Justin Gilbert does?
Well, I think both guys bring a special skill set to the table. And I think it depends on the system. So if the Lions are going to play an aggressive bump and run style of defensive football where they're going to blitz, zone blitz, and they don't want receivers to get free releases, then you go with Darqueze Dennard. But if you want to play off man and play cover 3, cover 1, play off some zone, you don't want a lot of contact because the referees are, flag happy in the NFL right now. If you want a guy that can truly go the other direction and play off man and help you disguise what the coverage is, then you go with Justin. So I think it just depends on the scheme. I like both guys. I don't want to see Darqueze get into, I think he's going to struggle early on in the preseason and maybe in September because he is so physical. He's going to have to get adjusted to the pro game. I mean, this is not college football where you can beat wide receivers up down the field, turn and play the ball. This is, after the first 5 yards, you really can't touch those guys in no form or fashion, especially while the ball's in the air or, as a receiver is running his route. The NFL has to sell tickets and they promote offense. But I like both corners. I would like to see the Lions trade up and try to somehow get Sammy Watkins because he might be the best receiver I've seen coming out since Randy Moss, just from the skill set. I mean,
really? Better than Calvin Johnson?
Well, Megatron is an exception.
Okay.
Like, Megatron is a transformer, so you know what I mean. Like he's a different kind of guy. So basically, I was giving Megatron his respect as far as I would like to see those guys play together.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of Calvin Johnson, I got to go all the way back to Randy Moss, and that includes every receiver that you see, the Larry Fitzgeralds, the Ocho Cincos, all those guys that came out after 97, 98. You know, I don't think they're as good as this Sammy Watkins. But
what makes him a cut above? I mean, we're talking about some all-time greats that he would be stepping over. So what makes him a cut above guys like that?
Well, I think where he is coming out of college, his skill set and his talent right now, leaving college, I don't see any weaknesses. He has size, speed, strong hands, catches the ball, runs like a linebacker with, after he caught an interception, looking to truck running backs. I mean, I think this kid has the moxie, the swagger to do it all. I don't think anybody can guard him. And once he learns how to run NFL routes, there's a difference between college and NFL routes. I just think he has the polish. I think he's unstoppable and was one of the most dominant players, respectfully at his position. And if he gets into the right system, I think he can dominate the NFL. I just think he can do it all. And I think other guys that came out had certain weaknesses, like they didn't block or they weren't every down guys. This guy has a different gear. He's a freak. And he can catch the ball. And we saw he can make plays after the catch. And that's why he set that record against Ohio State. The game plan was to get Sammy the ball. We haven't really seen a wide receiver featured like that in the bowl game, like featured on, bubble screens and everything. But I just think he's the best I've seen coming out as a 21, 22-year-old college football player.
Gotcha. One more question, Marcus, before we let you tell the folks how to get their hands on Rays of Light. We talked a lot about the NBA scenario with Donald Sterling, Swiss decisive action. We reflected upon that last week. The players praised new commissioner Adam Silver for that swift and decisive action. And he's received praise across the NBA, across sports platforms, even outside of sports. But in the aftermath of that, there's been a lot of talk amongst out of the player circles that, hey, if Donald Sterling hasn't sold the team, hasn't been forced to sell the team by the start of next season, that the players would consider boycotting. And I'm wondering if you think that that's the right approach. Because, the NBA could be doing its due diligence. They could be exhausting every single legal maneuver to try to force him to sell. And he could just be stubborn. A lawyer, a very litigious guy, he could just fight this tooth and nail until the very end. That doesn't mean the NBA isn't trying. That just means they're fighting against the guy that doesn't want to get out. Would it be fair for the players to boycott under that scenario?
No, I don't think it would be fair for the players to do that, and I think it's unfortunate for the fans and some of the players who really want to get out there and play. Once things don't happen overnight, and I think they probably got a little spoiled how by a decision being made so quickly to ban or for the hammer to drop on Donald Sterling, less than a week or so after he made his comments. And I think the players now, are trying to exercise their power, but they still got to understand protocol. And, legally, it's going to be difficult for them to, set a date and then try to force the league's hand or force the legal system's hand or whoever's going to deal with it, as far as him buying and selling the team and all of that. I think the players have gotten what they want. Let the offseason do what it does. It's time for business to get taken care of. Let them focus on playing basketball. How about, do the draft, enjoy the offseason, travel with your families, work out, improve your game. Let the NBA has proven to the players that they will do something whatever they can do, they're going to, within their power, they're going to do it, and as swiftly as possible. But I don't think it's fair for the players to start to say, okay, if he's not out of here by Halloween, we're not showing up. Give the league a chance to protect you and to maintain the integrity of the logo and the brand. And Adam Silver's proven he has done that. And I think as the summer goes along, Sam, that some of that boycott talk will die down.
Gotcha. Good stuff as always, Marcus. Tell folks how they can get their hands on Rays of Light.
Go to mden.com or walk right on into the MDN. Go right upstairs. Grab yourself a few copies of Volume 1, Volume 2. You can always download it from eBooks and iBooks and Amazon.com. Or you can call me, 734-645-9618. You can email me, mray29@gmail.com. You can order that way. So it's been a good year for Rays of Light. We're going to, keep building that brand and moving forward, thanks to WTKA and everybody, especially on the softball academy, the way we whooped on the football team. Just everything is good right now. 2014 is going to be a great year for Rays of Light, and I hope everyone is, I just hope everything is good, man, with everybody. Keep this positive energy rolling, Sam and Ira, Congratulations, Ira. Proud of you, boy,
Thank you, Marcus.
You outkicked your coverage, and I tell Sherry that every time I see her, brother.
Well, hey, Marcus, that's just another example of maybe your tutelage rubbing off, because I learned this morning that, all the credit for Gloria Velez doesn't go to Dave Bowens. It actually goes to Marcus Way for teaching David Bowens how to pull one like that.
Yeah, I showed him the way, man. And now I'm starting to regret, man, that I gave up the game to all these young boys, man. They try to, pass me up, but, everything is good, but it's good to see some of my sons out here, making good choices and doing all the things that they love them to do. Dave was my guy, but he cannot deny, Sam. When I tell you something and I stand by it, it's probably the truth, and I'm gonna argue you down for it, brother. Dave Bowens was not that guy until 1995, 96, and I showed all of those yaps. And Michigan football players know what yaps mean, and that's what we used to call freshmen. But when those guys got there in 95, they said, oh, he is doing it. What is up? And I showed them. Before you know it, White Castle was delivering, baby. I'm telling you, don't tell you. Hey, I'm out of here, Sam. I ain't messing with y'all this morning.
All right, Marcus. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you as always. See, there's a range. There's a range with Mr. Ray. We can talk off the field. We can talk on the field.
Now,
that's why Rays of Light it happens to be so good. He deals with many, many topics.
I was told that if he really had game, then it wouldn't have been White Castle, it would have been steaks.
Right?
That came from a former Michigan quarterback.
Really?
That was in studio, last week.
Okay. 8:26 on a Wednesday. We got to get to a break. When we come back on the other side, we're going to catch up with Michigan baseball coach Eric Bakich. So stay tuned for that here on the Michigan Insider on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, the official voice of University of Michigan Sports.